The night the stars bowed, every immortal in the galaxy went silent. I was standing on the observation ring of Station Echelon when the sky itself seemed to kneel, constellations dimming, warfleets powering down, ancient signal relays screaming a single impossible truth across every known frequency. The vampire princess had awakened, and she was choosing. That alone should have terrified me. But terror was only the beginning. For 3,000 years, the Noctur Dominion ruled the dark corridors between galaxies. An ancient civilization evolved beyond death, feeding not on blood, as the myths claimed, but on bioresonant neural energy. They were called vampires because it was easier than understanding them. Easier than admitting they were functionally immortal. And at their center slept Princess Seraphel Vaylor. She was not a ruler. She was a failsafe. When the Dominion fractured, when their immortality threatened to stagnate the universe itself, Seraphel was sealed away, an arbiter meant to wake only when the galaxy reached a breaking point. According to legend, when she chose a consort, civilizations rose or burned. But that was just legend. Until the stars went dark. I wasn't supposed to be here. I was a human xenolinguist, third-tier clearance, station echelon, middle of nowhere. My job was translating dead languages and failed treaties. I spent my nights alone listening to alien ghosts. Then the summons came. All species representatives to the Obsidian Hall. No reason. No explanation. Just fear. As I entered the hall, I felt it immediately, a pressure behind the eyes, a hum in my bones. Hundreds of beings filled the chamber. Crystalline elders, silicon hive minds, warlords who had devoured planets. All of them tense. All of them afraid. Then the floor split open. Darkness rose like liquid glass, forming a throne of shadow and starlight. The air turned cold, not with temperature but with absence, like something vital had been removed. And she appeared. Seraphel Vaylor did not look monstrous. That was the most terrifying part. She looked regal. Pale skin that reflected the stars. Eyes like eclipsed suns. Her presence bent light, bent thought. I felt her in my chest, reading memories I didn't know I still carried. She rose slowly and every immortal species bowed instinctively. Except me. I couldn't move. Her gaze swept the chamber and stopped. On me. My heart slammed against my ribs. That was when I knew I was already dead. But that was only the beginning. Her voice echoed without sound. I awakened to a galaxy obsessed with survival, she said, yet terrified of change. Images flooded the air, empires consuming stars, immortals hoarding eternity, entire species reduced to fuel. The Dominion's long experiment had failed. Immortality had calcified the universe. I will choose, Seraphel continued, one bond, one anchor, one species to guide the next age. Hope ignited across the hall like wildfire. Then she said the words no one expected. I reject you all. Gasp. Psychic shockwaves. Outrage. Fear. You had eternity, she said calmly. And you wasted it. She turned away from the immortals. Toward the mortals. Toward the humans. Toward me. What I saw next changed everything. I was dragged forward by invisible force, my boots scraping against obsidian. I tried to speak. Failed. Her eyes locked onto mine. Elias Carter, she said. I had never told anyone my first name on this station. You carry grief, she continued. Loss. Fear. Yet you persist. I swallowed. I don't understand. You will. 1,000 species watched as the vampire princess extended her hand. Not to a god king, not to an ancient mind, but to a human who barely mattered. Be my consort, she said. The hall erupted. Threat displays flared. War protocols activated. Immortals screamed in psychic fury. And I said the dumbest thing imaginable. Why? Silence fell. Seraphel tilted her head, something almost like curiosity flickering across her face. Because you die, she said softly. And yet you love anyway. None of us were prepared for the truth. The backlash was immediate. The Noctur Council declared the choice invalid. Ancient treaties were invoked. Assassination attempts followed within hours. I was rushed into protective custody, surrounded by technology that barely registered to her senses. She visited me that night. No guards. No warnings. Just her, standing in the dim quarters, shadows clinging to her like loyal servants. You're afraid, she observed. Of course I am, I snapped. Your people could tear me apart molecule by molecule. They will not, she said. You are under my protection. That's not comforting. For the first time she smiled, small, sad. You think I chose you for power, she said. But I chose you for weakness. I frowned. That's supposed to help? She stepped closer. I felt my heartbeat echo in her mind. You fear death, she continued. Yet you shape your life around meaning, not eternity. My kind forgot how. She reached out, hesitating, then touched my wrist. I expected pain. Instead, I felt her loneliness. Eons of watching stars burn out. Of outliving every bond. Of becoming a symbol instead of a person. You will not live long, she whispered. But you will live fully. And that terrified her more than any war. But that was only the beginning. The galaxy fractured around us. Immortal factions launched covert strikes, hoping to force her hand. Human worlds were threatened, used as leverage. I became a symbol overnight. The fragile anchor. The mortal weakness. The human mistake. I watched news feeds of planets burning because of me. I broke down more than once. End it, I begged her. Choose someone else. Save them. She looked at the stars through the viewport. If I surrender to fear, she said, then I am no better than them. That was the moment everything changed. Because she wasn't choosing me despite my mortality. She was choosing me because of it. The turning point came during the siege of Black Halo. An immortal coalition cornered us, space-time folding under their weapons. Even Seraphel bled shadow light, her power strained. They offered her a deal. Abandon the human. Restore the old order. Rule forever. She looked at me. I shook my head. Don't do this. She took my hand instead. I reject eternity, Seraphel declared to the galaxy. I choose a life that ends. Her power detonated, not as destruction but release. The immortals screamed as their endless cycles collapsed. Lifespans returned. Time reclaimed its due. The universe exhaled. I held her as she fell, suddenly, finite. Mortal. What did you do? I whispered. She smiled weakly. I learned how to live. Years passed. We lived on a quiet world under a human sky. She aged slowly. I aged quickly. The galaxy rebuilt, fragile, vibrant, alive. When my hair turned gray, she held my hand like it was something sacred. When I died, she cried for the first time in her existence. And when the stars looked back, they no longer bowed. They watched. Because the vampire princess had rejected the galaxy. And in choosing one human, she saved them all.